It's so irritating and painful that it can drive away a creature millions of times its size. On the sun-scorched islands of Indonesia, it's easy to feel like you've stepped back in time. Here, a living dinosaur still walks the earth. The Komodo dragon. This isn't just a big lizard. It's a 10-foot, 150-pound apex predator, a titan that has dominated its ecosystem for millions of years. But in this same unforgiving landscape, another empire thrives. This is the world of the ant. So, what happens when the planet's most formidable lizard meets one of its smallest inhabitants? The outcome seems obvious, right? A quick, brutal end for the ant. But nature is rarely that simple. This isn't just a story about a fight. It's a complex scientific puzzle involving venom, armor, chemical weapons, and the mind. To really figure out if an ant can survive a Komodo dragon, we have to look past the bite, beyond the stomp, and into the wild science that governs their world. And trust me, the answer is way more surprising than you think. First, let's get to know our heavyweight contender. The Komodo dragon is an absolute masterpiece of evolution. A typical adult male weighs around 150 to 200 pounds, but the largest one ever recorded tipped the scales at a jaw. They are the undisputed kings of their island homes, and they've earned that title with some terrifying biological hardware. Let's start by busting a myth. For decades, everyone believed Komodo dragons killed with a septic bite, a mouthful of deadly bacteria that would cause a lethal infection. The idea was that a dragon would bite its prey and just wait for it to get sick and die. But in 2009, groundbreaking research led by a leading researcher proved that whole story was a scientific fairy tale. Komodo dragons are, in fact, venomous. Tucked away in their lower jaw are complex venom glands. They pulsate, releasing glowing venom. When a Komodo dragon bites, it's not just tearing flesh. It's delivering a sophisticated cocktail of toxins. This venom is a chemical weapon designed to do two things beautifully: prevent blood from clotting and cause a catastrophic drop in blood pressure. It contains powerful anticoagulants, but also other compounds like kallikreins and natriuretic peptides that send the victim into a state of shock. This venom can incapacitate smaller animals in minutes, though a huge water buffalo might take hours or even days to finally go down. This venom is delivered by around 60 serrated, blade-like teeth that are constantly replaced. These teeth aren't for crushing, they're for slicing. And to make them even more effective, recent studies found their cutting edges are reinforced. When the dragon bites and pulls back with its powerful neck, these iron-edged teeth create deep, gaping wounds, giving the venom a direct highway into the bloodstream. But the dragon's offense is matched by some serious defense. An adult Komodo dragon is a walking fortress, its skin reinforced with a natural coat of chainmail made of tiny bones called osteoderms. This bony armor is so dense that it makes the dragon's hide useless for leather. CT scans show it's thickest around the neck and back. Interestingly, baby Komodos are born without this armor. They live in trees to avoid being eaten by adults, and scientists add to all this a patient ambush hunting style. A dragon can lie in wait for hours, using its forked tongue to taste the air. It delivers scent particles to a special organ in its mouth that allows it to detect prey from several miles away. When something wanders too close, it explodes into action, charging at speeds up to 11. Okay, but here's the thing. We're not really asking if one ant can survive. We're asking if a superorganism can. A single ant is fragile, but a colony? That's a decentralized, collective intelligence that can There are over 15,000 described species of ants in the world, with estimates suggesting the true number could be over 20,000. On the Indonesian islands where Komodos live, this diversity is on full display, including the highly organized weaver ants. One of their most potent weapons is chemical. Many ant species, like those in the massive Formicinae group, can spray formic acid from their abdomens. This isn't just a mild irritant. It's a chemical deterrent that causes pain and inflammation. Other ants don't use acid at all, instead relying on venom delivered through a stinger, much like their wasp relatives. Beyond chemicals, there's physical defense. An ant's body is covered in a tough exoskeleton made of chitin. Their real strength, though, is in their mandibles. Soldier ants, a special caste in many colonies, have massive heads and powerful jaws designed for combat. But the ant's ultimate weapon is teamwork. When an ant senses danger, it releases alarm pheromones, chemical signals that instantly rally the colony. This is the power of the swarm. The swarm doesn't think or feel fear. It operates on a simple, brutal calculus. Overwhelm the threat with sheer numbers. A predator might crush 100 ants, but 1,000 more are ready to take their place. This allows them to take on creatures vastly larger than themselves, with some species like army ants known to overwhelm and consume. Their nests are fortresses too. Many are complex underground bunkers, while others, like the weaver ants, build their homes high in lands. So this isn't a one-on-one fight. It's a 150-pound armored tank versus a decentralized, million-bodied So, can an ant survive? The answer depends entirely on the tree. Scenario A: the lone ant versus the passing giant. First up, the most common encounter. A single ant is foraging when the ground starts to shake. A Komodo dragon, weighing maybe 100,000 times more than the ant, is just walking by. The dragon doesn't even know the ant exists. If the dragon's foot lands on the ant, it's game over. The force is absolute, and the ant is instantly crushed. No chance of survival. But what if the ant is on a leaf that gets brushed aside? Or in a crack in the ground the dragon's foot steps over? It survives by being insignificant. The dragon walks on, completely unaware. Millions of these survivals happen every day. Scenario B: the foraging trail versus the apex predator. Let's escalate. It's not a lone ant, but a foraging trail of thousands. A Komodo dragon walks right through it. Now things get interesting. The dragon is still not attacking the ants, but by crushing hundreds of them, it has triggered a massive chemical alarm. The response is automatic. Workers swarm the source of the disturbance, the dragon's legs. Their goal isn't to kill it. Thousands of ants will start biting its feet and legs, searching for vulnerable spots between the thick scales. Some might spray formic acid or inject venom. This would be incredibly irritating. 1,000 pinpricks of pain are impossible to ignore. The dragon would likely get agitated, shaking its legs, maybe thrashing its tail. In this showdown, countless individual ants die. They're the frontline soldiers. But does the colony survive? Absolutely. The dragon, facing a relentless annoyance it can't fight effectively, will move on. The ants have successfully defended their territory. This battle of scales and numbers is fascinating, but things can get even more extreme. Before we get to the ultimate confrontation, make sure to subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens when a dragon stumbles upon an entire nest. And let us know in the comments, what other mismatched animal encounters should we break down next? Scenario C: the nest invasion PAM, the ultimate confrontation. Now for the most dramatic scenario. This isn't just a disturbance, it's a direct assault on the heart of the colony. The response will be total war. Alarm pheromones flood the tunnels, and tens of thousands of ants pour out of the ground, a living carpet of fury. Their strategy is simple. Target the weaknesses. Even a fortress has windows. The ants will swarm the dragon's head, aiming for the most sensitive soft tissues, the eyes, the nostrils, and the mouth. Here, the dragon's weapons become liabilities. Its venomous bite is useless against an enemy this small and numerous. It can snap and kill hundreds, but thousands more will swarm its face. It can crush legions underfoot, but the tide is relentless. Let's be clear, we are in speculative territory here, as this has never been scientifically documented. But we can imagine the sheer sensory overload would be immense. The constant biting, the burning chemicals on its most sensitive membranes. Is the Komodo dragon in real danger of being killed by ants? Almost certainly not. But could it be temporarily blinded or have its breathing passages clogged? It's a terrifying thought. The most probable outcome is a desperate retreat. The thousands of individual ants on the front lines have zero chance of survival. But by launching this overwhelming suicidal defense... So, what's the verdict? Can an ant survive a Komodo dragon attack? The answer is a classic. It depends. For a lone, individual ant, survival is just a game of chance. If it's in the dragon's direct path, it's toast. But that's the boring answer. The real story is about the colony, the superorganism. In any realistic encounter, a dragon isn't... If it accidentally disturbs a nest, it becomes a territorial dispute. And in that dispute, the ant colony is incredibly effective. Through the sacrifice of thousands of individuals, the colony launches a swarm defense so irritating and painful that it can drive away a creature millions of times its size. The dragon, facing an enemy it can't bite or fight, will almost always choose to leave. So, here's the final call. An individual ant will likely not survive a direct encounter with a Komodo dragon. But they don't win by killing the giant. They win by being an unbearable, overwhelming nuisance. It's a victory for collective defense. The clash between a Komodo dragon and an ant isn't just a simple story of giant versus dwarf. It's a complex ecological dance, showing that survival is written in many languages. The language of venom and armor, and the language of pheromones. The dragon reigns through solitary might. The ant thrives through collective unity. This dynamic plays out all over the world. But what happens when you introduce an invasive species with a totally different set of rules? You won't want to miss it. Make sure you're subscribed, and thanks for watching.